Hey everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia.
Mike, what's up?
So, last week's hint was I have lived knowing nothing of the forest, so there is nothing I can teach you. Go into the wild.
Yep, that means we're going to be talking about an awesome anime movie called Wolf Children.
Yes, so this movie came out in 2012, and I have just now gotten around to watching it. 12 years, 12 years later. Yeah, 12
Yeah.
years later. And I didn't realize that this was actually because it is on Crunchyroll, but I didn't realize that it had been dubbed by Funimation. So I saw a lot of names that I knew, like Colin Klinkenbeard. She was the one that did the voice for Hana, and Eric Vale, the voice for Yuki for Fruits Basket, and Kimberly from Full Metal Alchemist was there, and Mike McFarlane. There was a few others too that I noticed, and I was like, oh. So, I really did like this movie, but there was one scene that made me feel a little uncomfortable, and we'll get to that scene once we start talking about the movie.
Yep.
So, it is about a girl named Hana. She's a college student. She's in her, is she junior in college?
Somewhere around there.
Something like that. Anyway, so what she's doing is she's basically just going through the motions of going to school and, just
She's just learning, and then when she's in her class, she sees a man taking notes with no book, and she thought it was weird, interesting, and maybe like, hey, he goes up to him after class saying, hey, you don't have a notebook. If you want, you can share with me. And he's saying, don't bother. I'm not even a student.
No, she went after him because he had to fill out a slip or else he'd be marked absent by the teacher.
Right.
And then that's when he's like, I'm not even, I don't even go here. And then he leaves, but then she like runs after him and she's like, hey, if you ever want to come back, she's like, you can use my book. We can share my book. And it kind of just, because apparently according to the Wikipedia page, it's 13 years of her life. So all of this is taking place over 13 years.
Yep.
And so, but they become friends, and then they start to feel something for each other.
They were having feelings.
So he would actually go and, because what she did was she'd go to school, and then she would go and she would do her part-time job at a dry cleaner's.
Kind of ironic.
And so he
the stereotype.
Yeah, he would actually go and pick her up after she got off work to take her home and stuff like that. And then around Christmas time one night, he wasn't there waiting for her. And She sat there and she waited for him. Which I'm like, girl, it is like cold outside. You need to go home. I was waiting for her to go home, but then he shows up and he is like, Hana, I'm so sorry. Now, we don't know this guy's name. I don't think they ever said it in the movie. And there's nothing on the Wikipedia page about it. So this guy literally has no name. And
yep.
But they anyway, so that night that he was late meeting her, I guess he tried to tell her several times his secret, and he just couldn't do it. So then finally that night he was like, I'm going to tell you this, and I've never told anybody, and I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but I'm going to tell you because I think that you should know, basically. And he turned into a werewolf.
Well, yes, it was a werewolf form, but he can also turn into a full wolf.
Yeah. So he could turn into a wolf, basically.
And his family is some kind of comes up from a long line of, was it deities or something like
Yeah,
that?
he was like the last living descendant of that because both of his parents had died, and so he was by himself, but he had learned how to hide his wolf form because his other relatives that were taking care of him did not know, and they basically, as soon as he was old enough to get a driver's license, he was gone. Basically, is what he said. He went to the city and never looked back, and he was just supporting himself, taking care of himself as best he could. And so that night that he told her about his wolf form, they made love. And this is the scene that made me feel a little uncomfortable because he was in his wolf form when they made love. So, I was a little uncomfortable with that. But when she woke up the next morning, he was back in his human form. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say that he did turn back into a human before they did the deed. But they kissed while he was in his wolf form.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, let's not get too much into it. Like those demon arts out there who think that Belle fucked the beast when he was in his beast form.
I mean, it's a good possibility she probably did.
She could have, or in my opinion, if you look, you know how like when he trans back, she kind of gets that look saying, "Who is this fucker?" But half the time you kind of wonder if that look was like, "Ah, shit."
Well, first off, okay, I don't understand why she had that look like, what the fuck is going on? Because she knew he was cursed, and she watched him turn back into a human right before her eyes. So she knew who that was.
Deep down, she's a furry.
But then she probably wanted beast stick. But let's not get too far into
bestiality. Okay, let's just say.
Let's just get back to Wolf Children. We will talk about Beauty and the Beast later.
All right, like I say, they pretty much did the deed, got married, and pretty much she got pregnant. She couldn't go to the hospital because you don't know what the fuck could happen.
Well, no, like I think it was she. I think she was afraid to go into the hospital because I think she was afraid to I don't know, but she wouldn't go into the hospital, and I like to think that maybe it was because she was unsure if she really was pregnant, and she didn't know like what to think of it. But her baby daddy, because we don't know his name, he was very supportive of her when she got pregnant the first time.
And
like his animal instincts took over, and he brought in like a pheasant or something at one point, and he cooked it up for her.
Yeah, pheasant.
Because she was having trouble like eating, and because she had really bad morning sickness.
Right, and pretty much they tried to do stuff that was normal. He got a job as a.
Well, he had that job before.
Well, either way, he's working. He does his job, and they don't go to the hospital because they don't know if the kids would come out as a pup or not.
Yeah, so they were afraid for that. So then she gave birth at home, and then not long after her first child, Yuki, which was a female, was born. She got pregnant. What?
She was a brat.
Oh, I mean,
even when she was not a kid, she was still.
I mean, I can kind of understand. But she did get pregnant again, and she gave birth to a little boy named Ami. Well, during this time, which this is a scene that made me go, what the fuck? Like, besides the point that she possibly had sex with a werewolf, she was leaving because I guess she needed to get food or something. And it was raining, and she opened up the door to her apartment, and outside she saw a couple bags of groceries with her, with the wolf's wallet in the bag, but he was nowhere to be seen. So I'm just thinking, oh great, he just ran off like every other dad in anime. And
Well, some stay.
some, or they run off or die, depending on what anime you're watching. And then she gets like this bad feeling, and she goes out to look for him.
And there's the groceries by the door with
I
his
already
wallet.
I already mentioned that.
Did you mention the wallet?
Yes.
Well, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I just said that. She goes,
Alright.
because she gets a bad feeling and she goes looking for him after she finds the groceries.
Alright.
And she finds his dead body
In a wolf form.
in his wolf form in like this little ravine type thing.
Yes.
And they are pulling his body up. And there are feathers around. So basically, he essentially drowned, I'm assuming, trying to catch this prey to bring back to his mate and his cubs. Or not his cubs, his pups. And
Sorry.
they put his bag,
Chewy,
they put
stop.
his body into a, yeah, my dog's being a brat. They put his body into a trash bag,
Yes.
and then they put it in the back of a trash truck, where his body probably got crushed. And I'm sitting here like, they fucking just did not do that. Like, what the actual fuck? So they weren't married, and he left them a little bit of savings. And so now she's essentially the mother to a single mom to two young wolf pups. And she's trying her best to take care of it. You know, she quit her job, she dropped out of school, you know, so she could take care of them. And it's just one thing right after another. Like, Yuki is just like full of energy, and she keeps getting into things and keeps destroying things because
Chewing shit up.
she wants to be she wants to be a wolf. And Ami is just kind of like, I want to be human and I don't want to do this. You know, he was like really frail and sickly. One night, Yuki decides that she was going to eat a silica packet, and Hana didn't know. Do I take her to the pediatrician, or do I take her to a vet? Like, she didn't know, so then she ended up calling, and she found out that it was okay. They, like, the kids would howl, and her landlord was like, "You're not allowed to have pets. I've heard them." And Hana's like, "I don't have pets." She's like, "Well, I heard them." She's like, "If you're not going to follow the rules, then you can get out." One of her neighbors came over to her and yelled at her because Ami kept crying. And she's like, "He's a baby. He is going to cry." And he's like, "Well, I'm trying to sleep." You know, just being a dick.
In my opinion, this is why I get, like, say if they're in a place, there's thin walls, but still, that dude had no right going to the house saying, "Hey, quiet your kid." And this is what I hate when people say, "Don't," you know what the thing says, "Don't parent someone else's kid."
Mm-hmm.
I agree, you don't do that. But when you see a kid that's like really bratty, sometimes I'm like, just spank your kid.
I mean, well, you can't really spank anymore because that's seen as child abuse.
Well, if you don't, well, yeah, I get that, but still, we're different. We grew up in a different era.
I mean, considering that my mom used to chase me down with, like, slippers, spatulas, that type of thing.
This is different. This is Ami, and he's a baby, and babies are going to cry during the night.
Yeah.
It's not his
and
fault.
plus, he was sickly, too. Like, she said that he was very... because Yuki was the one that was narrating some of the scenes, and Yuki had said that he was, like, kind of sickly, and that's going to happen. Babies are going to cry when they're sick. And this guy was being a complete dick, and he should have, you know, kept his fucking mouth shut. And, you know, it just made Ami cry more. So then, like, she's sitting there and she's like, because Ami had to be fed, like, every 2 hours, basically.
Yeah.
So she was getting no rest at all. And then
Nope.
finally, her kids started to get, I think they were 5 and 4. And she was like, let's move. Because she wanted them to have a place where they could be who they wanted to be.
So they moved to the country.
They moved to the country. She absolutely loves it because she's like, just, there's no neighbors for miles. And like there's like a little village, and then there's an elementary school that's like 30 minutes away. And then the guy that was showing her the house says, hey, there's a middle school, but it's like 2.5 hours away by train and bus, which we will get to that in a little bit later. But Hana's like, this is perfect. So then she starts realizing that she needs to get a job. But she needed to get her kids into daycare, and she's like, I can't really trust them not to reveal their wolf forms, because Yuki is loving it because growing up, Yuki was the one that always wanted to be in her wolf form. She always wanted to, do all the stuff that you would as a wolf, and Ami just wanted to be a human. And this was like a chance for them to, explore their wolf side without, having to really hide it they didn't have to, they had to hide it, but not as closely. So then Hana she decides that they're going to grow their own vegetables. So she's having trouble growing her vegetables, and she's like, I don't understand. This old,
farmer,
crotchety old man helps her, teaches her what she needed to do, and she was able to harvest a lot of potatoes. And so with her potatoes, she was able to go around and give it to the people that have been helping her, because even some of the other villagers like, hey, you need to do this, plant this, because this will do this and this and this and this. So she goes around and she starts handing out the potatoes, and she finds out, because she had a lot of potatoes, come to find out that nobody else's potatoes really survived except for hers, because of a boar that was coming around and eating their potatoes.
Yes, and most of the community's coming out, helping her out, talking to her, befriend her. They think she wasn't going to last, but she did. But, one of the neighbors who were talking, they see Yuki in her wolf form. Man, that kid cannot keep it together. And
they thought that she was a dog.
And she goes around the house, and they're like, hey, we just saw your dog. And he's like, oh, yeah. And she turns back into the wolf form. And, I'm like, okay. They just saw, I'm like, are you guys?
I don't think they noticed it. Hana saw it, but I don't think the other people noticed it. But, so, the community is coming, together. And they gave her a new fridge, because she had, such a tiny fridge, because, everybody that she had gone to and given the potatoes to, they were giving her other vegetables that she hadn't grown.
Yep.
And so, and then eggs, there was, a bunch of eggs and stuff. And so, they've come together to help her. And the house that they had moved into, it was in ruins. And she fixed up this house, made it into a very nice house. She gets a job, I think, at some sort of
nature preserve.
Nature preserve. There's a wolf there, and she takes Ami to see him, because I think that was after they had gone on a little walk with Ami and Yuki to try to give them a chance to to stretch their legs in their wolf form.
Yeah, it was during this a snowstorm, when it snowed, and they were having fun playing around. And Yami was chasing a bird.
Yeah, Ami saw a bird.
He got him, and
he tripped on his scarf, and he fell into the water and almost drowned. And Yuki saved him.
And Yami loved it, loved the hunt, and
that was when his wolf senses really kicked in. So now we're starting to see kind of a shift of their personalities, because Yuki wanted to go to school, and the chant that Hana had made up was, I'm a little girl until I get home.
Right.
And she's like, every time you feel like that you're going to turn into a wolf, she's like, just say that. I'm a little girl until I get home. And it was working for Yuki, and Yuki loved school. And then a year later, Ami started school, and then eventually Ami just didn't want to go to school anymore because he didn't like that. And
No, it's true. Like you, it doesn't show much. They just do like a little
it's like a little montage.
gosh, and throughout the years, he tried to make friends, but couldn't. He was
getting bullied and
a
then
lot.
Yuki would save him.
Yeah, and he stopped going, and the mom's worried, and even like the neighbor was like worried, and her father was like, Einstein didn't finish grade school, neither did I, and he's like, don't make him become you.
Yeah, because he was talking about Ami had started talking about the sensei that he had up in the mountains, and it turns out that his sensei was this old fox that lived up there.
Yep.
So during the day, Ami would go and spend time with this fox, and the fox was, because the wolf couldn't teach Ami anything because the wolf was possibly born in captivity. So he knew nothing of the wild, and Ami was just like, I feel sad every time I see that wolf because his eyes are so sad. And so then he somehow meets this fox, and the fox is teaching him everything that he needs to know about living in the mountains and how to be an animal, basically. And Hana does meet the fox. She brought a couple things for him. It was like a peach and like some sort of food. The fox took the peach. And then Ami went after him. And then there was 1 year. It was the year that he was 10. Yuki was 11.
Yep.
There was a boy that came to school, and his name was Shohei.
Yeah.
Or Shohei, yeah. And he told Yuki that she smelled like dog.
And that's rude.
That is rude. He's like, do you got a dog because you smell like a dog? And she's like, we don't have a dog. He's like, well, you smell like it. So then she starts avoiding him because she doesn't want her secret to get out.
No.
Because at this point, we're now seeing that Yuki wants to be human and Ami wants to be
more like a wolf.
But
here's the thing. What's his name? Was it the
Shohei?
Shohei. He kept pushing her until she scratched him pretty much
With her claws.
And her mom comes down with Shohei's mom, who's a B word, by the way.
Yeah, she was a bitch.
But besides that, and I'm like, and he just said, she didn't attack me, a wolf did. He's like, what? And then she's like, and Yuki didn't want to go to school for a while,
but he kept coming out and seeing her
and everything, and
then eventually they do kind of like form like a friendship. And one night, Ami and Yuki got into a fight as wolves because Ami was talking about how he was learning all this stuff in the forest and how he thinks that Yuki should embrace her wolf side too. And she's like, no, I want to go to school. She's like, you should go to school too. And he's like, I don't want to go to school. They get into like a tussle. There's like a big fight. And then they just kind of like, it kind of seems like that they had, like there was kind of a rift there. Yeah. And after that, and he, there's a lot of rain.
Yep.
This one season, and the fox got hurt, and Ami's like, I need to take the place of the guardian of the forest.
And his mom was like, no, because he's just a kid, but when he's wolf, he's more of an adult. But it's the hard situation, and Yami told Yuki, hey, you need to stay home with mom today. And she's like, nope, I'm going to school. And Yami pretty much went to the forest to help with the animals. His mom comes in, tries to help him.
Yeah, she goes looking for him because they did call Hana, the school did, and it's like, hey, we need you to come pick up your kids because they let school out early because of the rain. So eventually it was just Shohei and Yuki left at the school.
And, they pretty much, Shohei's mom's getting remarried, going to have a new kid. and didn't want to go home.
Yeah, and because he was like, we could just live here at school, and I can just get a job and support us, basically.
Right, but here's the thing: he knew she was a wolf, and
Yeah,
he just didn't want to tell anyone. He kept the secret.
Yeah, because she did show him her wolf form, and he wasn't scared or anything. He was just like he kind of had the same reaction that Hana did when she saw her mate transform into a wolf.
Yep.
He was just like, I knew it was you. He goes, but I'm not. He wasn't mad that she attacked him because I think he understood that, he pushed her.
Yep.
And he knew that he shouldn't have done that, but he's like, I won't tell anyone your secret. You're safe with me. So there for a minute, I thought Hana was gonna die because she did fall like off of a cliff, but Ami had rescued her and brought her back, and then when he put her down on the pavement, I don't know where it was. It was in the village somewhere. She knew at that point that there was no way that she was going to be able to keep him there.
No, it's true because before all that, she was in like a dreamlike state with her her ex, and
I wouldn't even call him her ex. It was her mate.
Mate, same thing. Right now, okay. She's in the dream state, right, with him, telling her, "Hey, he's a man now. He wants to be in the woods. You're going to have to let him go."
Yeah, and so she does let him go, and he becomes the guardian of the mountain. And Yuki she moves into the dorm of that middle school that we talked about.
Yep.
So then she's, Hana's left there by herself. But she's sitting there, she's looking, I think, because what she did was when she found, after her mate died, and she had his wallet, and she took his driver's license out. And his driver's license she would always have on display for the kids.
Yep.
Which Ami looks a lot like him.
He really does.
And so there were some times where she didn't know if she was looking at Ami or if she was looking at her mate because they looked so. I don't mean that in like a gross, disgusting way. It's just that they, and like her. At the end, in her her feverish state or whatever, like she wasn't sure if that was Ami or if it was, the guy that she was in love with. And then she's like, "That's my son. I'll let you go ahead and do what you want to do." And then Yuki decided to live her life as a human, and Ami decided to live his life as a wolf. And then he howled. She heard him howl, and she smiled, and then that was where the movie ended.
Yeah, and I give the movie. It's a good movie. I watch it. It's on Crunchyroll. I recommend it, and I give it a 9 out of 10.
I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Well, either way, good movie.
I do kind of wish that there was like a little bit more closure between Shohei and Yuki, because I wanted to see if that would have developed into anything.
Well, that too, or, but, hey, maybe they couldn't get it in. All of it in.
Maybe. That's what fan fiction's for.
Yeah, pretty much. And you got that disgusting fan fiction.
Which one?
I don't know. Either way, pretty much did this. We're at 41 right now, which is good. Trying to get up to 50. If you guys who do listen to us, please put in the comments what you want us to review.
We're running out of ideas.
We're really running out of ideas. We can do so long as we can. But here's the thing. If you guys got a couple ideas, movies, anime, or a video game you want us to review, we'll put it up and we'll do it with our best abilities. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of horror films. Neither is Jules. But, hey, try to keep it what you think we can watch. It could be a foreign film. Non-foreign film, it could be a miniseries. We could also do a TV show. We've been doing so much of that, and we want to...
Yeah, we just want to be able to do things that you guys might like. And I mean, our views aren't the greatest, so I mean, we need ideas of what you guys would like us to talk about.
Yeah, and
I mean, we can only do so much when we don't know what you guys might like to listen to.
yeah, if you have an idea, like say, if you want us to do a podcast about music, I don't know how we can do that. I doubt we can, but we can always make a short about like 90s hit list you can listen to.
Yeah, like just things that you guys think that we might enjoy and that you would like to hear about. We're gonna keep and try and do this for as long as we possibly can without assistance from you guys, but
we need your help.
We need your help, and it would really mean a lot to us if you guys started helping us out with what you would like us to talk about.
Or yeah, that, and if you also recommend like anything, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
We can even, if you want, we can also do a top 10 musical review.
If you guys want us to talk about a certain manga that you have enjoyed, like I'm the manga reader, Mike's reading a little bit, I could possibly look into it and possibly read it and talk about it.
We can do manga recaps.
We could do something about comic books. Mike is more the comic book type. We can basically do anything that you guys would like us to do.
And if you want, we can also debate about it. I doubt until we get more better. But besides that, hey, give us a shout out.
Yeah, just leave us some comments, what you would like. Okay, so next week's hint.
It's going to be a little bit of a long one, so bear with us.
It is bank accounts are a scam created by the shadow government. So if you guys know
what that is,
you're in for a treat. I am currently in the process of watching it.
I watch it. It's good.
I will reveal my feelings on next week's episode about this. So, but yeah, like we said, like, subscribe, comment below what you want us to talk about. Share this to all your friends if you think that they would like it. It would really help us out. Once we get up to 50, we'll show our faces. So that should give y'all something to look forward to.
Yep.
So, well, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.